Hello, everybody out there. How are you doing on this glorious September Thursday? Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Five Star Radio. My guest today, you know him, you appreciate him, you follow him on Twitter at Steelers Take. Austin, are you there?
Glad to be back, Steve. We are
Oh,
back.
as glad as you are to be back, I am twice as glad to have you here with me on Five Star Radio. We are moving along in the first midweek of the NFL season. It came, I don't know about you, but for me, the first month of football is just so fast. It's like it feels like you're waiting so long for it
Oh
to
yeah.
get here, and then the first game happens, and you're like, "Oh wait, the Steelers are 5-1. Like, what's going on?" It's crazy how fast it goes by once it gets here.
Yeah, I feel like that too. I mean, I just said something earlier that was similar to that. It's like these first weeks just fly by, and then you're like, oh, we're halfway through the year already. And
I
then it feels like it
know,
slows down a little.
I know. And then by like week 9, I remember for me, I think it was the Ravens game where I started to feel the second Ravens game, the one against Griffin, where I started
Yeah.
to be like, oh man, like this is passing by so quick already, and I haven't even like stopped to enjoy it. It was just such a grind in the early part of the season because it was so exciting, doing this show that we do. It was like win, and it was
Yeah.
every episode did better because people were getting more and more enthused, and it became this thing by mid season where I was like, holy shit, what's happening? And the last month couldn't have been any different.
Yeah. The complete opposites, sadly. But I mean, we got to still appreciate that for what it was. It was a nice feeling. Don't let anyone take that away from you.
It certainly was. So yeah, I was talking to you a little earlier before we got on about like how are you feeling after a couple days knowing that the Steelers beat Buffalo in Buffalo on Sunday? Because for me, it's still like it took like 2 days to settle in. Like when I watched my show back for the first time today since I you know
Yeah.
painstakingly combed over it to finish it, make sure it was correct, everything, etc. And but today was like the first time I like watched it as a viewer, and I was like, whoa, like I almost don't remember it. This game it was 3 days ago or 4 days ago, and it feels like it was a month ago already. Um, I just feel very satisfied about where the Steelers are right now, and I don't know that we could have had a better. Could you like?
And
How
that's
could
what
you
I
have
was about
felt
to say.
better? You know.
Yep, that's what I was about to say. Like, I don't know how you start. Oh, this is much better than if I had to equate it to like last season, it feels the same as winning like 5 games of last season, just because like I don't know, it just didn't feel the same way as like going in and beating a really good team. I mean, who did we play last year at the beginning of the year? I
Uh,
know like
week
I know
one.
once we got to Tennessee, they were like that I was like, okay, this is a game that's gonna like show something. And I feel like
Yeah.
we got that game that like showed something about us
Well,
the first game.
we had a somebody in the chat, Justin Davis, by the way, says he's at work and he's not allowed to have his phone, but Five
Wow.
Star went live, so he's in the chat. So you gotta love to see it. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
That is that's nice to hear.
If you are hanging out, make sure you hit that like button on the YouTube stream. It will help us rank in the algorithm, will help us do this more often, will help us get more watch time, which means BetQL will give us more money. Come on. Hop in, click the like
Man,
button. If you are digging what we're doing with Five Star Radio, Austin, I heard that there's a new way that you can get this show. Do you want to fill the people in on that at all?
you can search for Five Star Radio on Spotify now after the show is live, especially our post game show.
Yes. Excellent. So make sure you do that. Make sure you consume the show however is convenient for you because we are here to bring you a good vibe. and a good time on 5-Star Radio. I think that wasn't even a planned plug right there. That just seamlessly happened.
Yeah.
I'm becoming too much of a disc jockey, I think.
You sell out.
Gets one ad deal and suddenly,
Suddenly you're gonna start saying a bunch of hot takes.
yes, like
That's gonna be next.
like Chris Carter saying today that,
Oh, no.
that Roethlisberger is a bad. He eviscerated him, and it was
I know.
it was
What?
out of
What was
bounds.
the point?
It was out of bounds.
They
It was
just
out of
have
bounds.
fun doing it.
Dude. It was. It'd be.
I made a tweet about that.
There comes a point where you cross a line where it becomes like personally offensive. And
Yeah, at this point, you're just attacking his character, and you guys are on a show in 2021 talking
know.
about Ben's car accident 15 or motorcycle accident 15 years ago, and it's. I don't know.
And I mean, for me, it was so funny because it was Chris Carter, and that's somebody who has had his own fair share of character concerns over the years. So
Yeah, right.
I mean, glass houses, right, dude? Like,
Yep, he's throwing stones.
I just don't get it. I hate it. I hate seeing the way that people talk about Roethlisberger like he's some kind of absolute monster. When, I mean, for the last 5 years, he's been borderline corny and not even interesting to listen to because he just puts everybody over all the time. All he does is just say, I should have been better.
Yeah, exactly. And people are still like wanting to rip him for like, now they just got to latch on to old stuff. I liked that he also was talking about like, it sounds like when people are talking about Juju, where they're like, oh, but he's on his phone and stuff. It's like with Ben, but they do it with like, oh, but he blocks people on Twitter and shit. You're like, what are you talking about? It's not even him.
The Twitter that's not even, it's like for his
Twitter
charity.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally a website. His name's a website. He's not on there. He's not reading your
He doesn't know how to do that. He literally doesn't know how to do that. People forget. He's like a generation older than Juju, I mean, literally.
Even more. Yeah.
Oh man, poor Roethlisberger. I will say I feel even after the Steelers get the win in Buffalo, I think I would have to say I came away a little impressed with the Raiders on Monday. I mean, I know.
Oh, me too.
I know Baltimore's got a lot of injuries, but I thought they showed some impressive stuff.
I did too. I think offensively they had some ups and downs, but overall what did Derek Carr throw for? Like almost like I think 3 something.
It felt like the last the game winner was definitely
it really looked like
40 yards or something. So that
who was covering him on that game winner? Because it looked like he just let him. He looked like he stopped running.
I know who was covering him on that play, and I thought you were setting it up just to be a dick. It was Marlon Humphrey.
Oh man, I mean, I'm glad. I knew it was gonna be somebody I didn't like, obviously.
Man, I don't even have disrespect.
Like he was walking.
I don't even have disrespect for Marlon Humphrey, man. He's a really good
I don't
player.
either. I think he's great, but I'm just saying in that specific play, it looked like he gave up early.
Derek Carr's stats on Monday: 34 of 56 for 435, 2 scores and 1 interception. Yeah.
He threw 56 times.
He did. Allen threw 51.
I don't think the Steelers are going to let him throw that much. Well, I mean, they're going to let him throw that much. I just don't think he's going to be successful at it.
I mean,
if they stick to a similar plan, because like right now you see, I don't know, which is kind of good that I don't know if they're gonna because they could switch it up and go back to like doing something blitz heavy, or they can continue trying to bring 4. Which if it's working, there's no reason not to do that.
Oh, I think that's
trying to like fake somebody out. But if they're gonna be throw heavy, then I say bring 4 all day. Let everyone else drop back.
I think that's what
I think he's gonna have a hard time.
That's what you're gonna see them do this year. I think they got some horses that can cover now. I think.
Oh man, I know.
I think people don't even realize how blanket coverage Schobert was on Sunday because we didn't say
didn't hear his name once,
and that's so good. How often have you heard the Steelers middle linebacker in coverage just constantly, where we're like Spillane, or LJ Fort really on Keenan Allen? Are you kidding? So I think Schobert really. I mean, he's a guy who can legitimately cover, and you couple that with he's handing him off now to safeties like Minka, and
Yeah.
Terrell Edmonds is just continuing to get better. And I gotta say, really impressive Trey Norwood. Still, I haven't gotten over that. To me, the
Yeah.
biggest revelation out of this game, more than anything, I think we learned. I still don't think we learned that much about the Canada offense, but I
Yeah, I
think
agree.
we learned a lot about the secondary, in particular Trey Norwood and
Yeah.
James Pierre and Cam Sutton. And if those guys are the guys they flashed being against one of the best teams in the AFC, then dude, I think I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, what's great about Norwood especially is he allows you to do other stuff with Minka because you can put him back there and feel okay about it. And then, like they were doing
Exactly.
last game a lot, they were moving Minka all over the place. And when you have somebody who's a playmaker like that, if you're able to use them in different ways to where they can get involved, I mean,
Well,
more the better.
that's what
Because
people.
Minka gets covered up.
Yep.
Minka doesn't even get targeted the whole game. So if you can get him in different positions where people aren't going to expect him, then he's going to actually be able to make a better impact.
Exactly. I mean, I think people forget that coming into the league, Minka wasn't even really considered just straight up free safety. He was kind of like a slot corner slash safety hybrid with Miami.
They would even put him in. They'd drop him in the linebacker
Yeah,
positions a lot,
yeah.
which
And
is crazy.
he
But
didn't want to do that. That was what he.
yeah,
It's so bizarre to me. I'll never get over it. I'm thankful, but I'll never understand how you have a player like that and you can't get on the same page as him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we've seen Minka now for 2 years, and you're like, this guy is just special. I mean, special. How do you make the decision to cut and run on that human being?
yeah.
I'll
I
never
think
get
it's
it.
I think it's a matter of the whole like you need to like let players play to their strengths, and I think Miami wasn't letting him do that. So I think that's also when he came over why he found being here a lot more enticing to him because that's kind of the Steeler attitude towards a lot of positions.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I guess
Mhm.
I'll never get over it. It's so surprising to me just seeing the kind of effort and energy he puts into his craft. And like, to me, if that guy's on your roster and he tells you this is what I want to do, then that's what he's doing. I
I
mean,
mean, being a first round pick, that
I
should be the case anyways.
I just think
I
he
agree.
is just I think he is just a I really think he's a Hall of Fame caliber bound player, and I think it might seem a little crazy to say that now, only in his fourth year.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's fourth. Yeah,
but I am blown away by him every time I watch him play. I think he makes the whole defense so much better than they've
yeah.
been.
I always really marvel at that whole decision looking back because like that's a team that was in such a different position who you'd never think would make that kind of move. But
Yep.
it's clear that they weren't just thinking about like right now, right this second. And that's what a lot of people get caught up thinking about, I think. And that's why you saw criticism come out whenever the move was made from some people.
Well, and
But
that's because people thought without Ben that the
yeah,
Steelers were going to go like 3-13, and they were going to have traded away, you know, a number 5 pick. But you know what the crazy thing about that is? Obviously, the Steelers beat expectation drastically that year. Went 8-8 with Duck Hodges, which is
yeah.
mental. Um, but
I
not
just
only
saw Duck
I
signed
know he
to
did.
a Canadian Football
I
League.
know. Good for him. Quack
Good for
quack.
him, man. I'm
Um,
glad he's still out there.
I love to see it. He seems like good people. But not only did they not pick that early in the draft that year, I mean, even if it was the number 5 overall pick, would you pick Minka Fitzpatrick if you had the 5th overall pick in the draft? I would.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd
It
pick him
was
if I had the
perfect
number
move.
1 overall pick. Frankly, if I knew what he was and what he is what he is, I without even question, I'd trade any draft pick for him.
Yeah, I absolutely. I think it was perfect. They just saw the opportunity and they were like, this is what we need to do.
Colbert has really him and Mike T both have really changed and adapted their styles in the last 3 or 4 years, and I give them a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Raiders some more.
Okay, I think that's a good direction.
Um, what do you want to talk about? Their offense? What do you think's their strong? What do you think's their stronger suit? Their offense or their defense? I mean, this question's pretty
Yeah.
easy with us, but what do you think about for them?
I think for them, their stronger unit is definitely their offense. I mean, Baltimore, we know what Baltimore is. They might have some injuries, etc., but they're still a sound defensive football team that's
Absolutely.
always well coached. And so to me, even if you played most of a full extra quarter, I still think going for 491 total yards is something to be respected. So I don't see them having anywhere
Yeah.
near that kind of a success against the vaunted Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I don't think you're going to see Carr throw it as much. I think you're going to see I
I
think
think they're gonna look at last week and realize that they probably can't.
yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I think, I mean, that's how that usually goes, and we'll see. That's why I kind of find it interesting the whole how the scheme's gonna play out for both teams.
Yeah, the chess match because our is do you see the Raiders go sort of against type and say, okay, we're going to establish the run with Josh Jacobs and force you to have Devin Bush and Joe Schober come down and make
Yeah,
tackles in the box and prove they can do that because they do have good backs. Don't forget, Josh Jacobs, I think, was
yeah,
limited last week. I have him in fantasy. That's the only reason I know. I think he was sick, so he only got 10 carries. And they also have Kenyon Drake, who's actually pretty dynamic.
yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked. And Derek Carr moves a little bit. To me, the two things that stick out the most are obviously the tight end. Waller is
Yeah, but you got to mention him if you're going to mention the Raiders.
he
19 targets.
yeah, he's their guy. I think Mike T said it best when he said that if you were to compare him to somebody on our team, that he's most similar in body type to Claypool.
Yeah,
And that to me tells you everything you need to know about the threat that guy is. He's an absolute monster.
yeah, I agree. He definitely had his fair share last week, so I'm sure they'll continue to try to feed him a little.
But that'll be an interesting challenge for Schober and Minka and whoever's going to be handling him. I think you're going to see. I think an interesting challenge would be seeing Schober and Pierre because I like the length of Pierre. He really could be
Yeah,
really good if he can. If he has it in him to be good, he could be really good because he has everything you need.
he has the assets, so
Uh,
it's the mental game,
and then the
and
last
he's
thing
shown promise in that regard as well, which is always great.
And then just the last thing with their offense is the slot receiver Hunter Renfro, who is
Yeah,
their sort of Cooper Cup. And I remember watching him I think he played at Clemson with Trevor Lawrence, if I remember. Or no, he might have been there probably when Deshaun Watson was there. But he, just one of those guys when you see him where you're like, oh, he's just going to be one of those slot receivers in the NFL where he's going to get picked in like the 6th round or something because he's not that fast, but just football speed. He just knows how to play football and he'll catch 7 passes a game from a good quarterback. You know those guys?
yeah, exactly.
So that's what I
So,
think about with them on offense.
yeah, so okay, so let's go over to the defensive side. So like on defense, they obviously have Crosby coming off the one side, and then I believe who is it? I think it's Yannick Ngakoue
Yeah.
who's on their other. Yeah, and I think he's injured
Yeah,
now.
he
I
did.
think he got injured in practice, or did he get injured in the game? I'm
No, I
not
think he
sure.
got injured in the game because I remember seeing him. But
Mhm.
yeah, he's a guy who's he gave our previous incarnation of our line a little bit of trouble. He was one of those Ben killers when Jacksonville
Yeah.
was really good. That line was brutal, man, with him and Calais Campbell.
Oh yeah, man.
Oof.
Flashbacks. I don't even want to talk about that.
I know. I know. I hated that team was so hateable because I loved what they built on defense. That defense was electric for exactly 1 year.
Yeah, for exactly 1 year, and then never again.
It completely collapsed. It looked like they were
Completely,
building a real franchise, and it just, I,
man.
it's
Feel
weird.
bad for anyone who's living there.
It
Being a fan.
it is a weird one. Yeah, so defensively, I got to give a shout out. First of all, 23 people hanging out, only 11 people having liked the stream. That's a ratio I'm not comfortable with, so make sure you hit that like button if you are chilling on the YouTube stream right now. We really appreciate it. Also, consider joining us on Patreon. That is the number one way to support 5-Star Matchup and all of our efforts to bring you a tremendous abundance of entertainment throughout the 2021 Pittsburgh Steelers season, which, by the way, also shout out, we have a 5-Star Matchup rewind episode going live, I think right now, if I'm not mistaken. So feel free to go check that out if you want. It's a throwback Raiders game, but you could check it out later. You could check it out tomorrow, Saturday, whatever you do. Just make sure you watch it before our game on Sunday, which I will
It's gonna get you hyped.
It is gonna get you jacked up, and make sure you like that.
Ready.
Make sure you share that. Put it out on your Twitter. Put it out on your whatever. I don't care. Put it on your Friendster.
Send it to your mom and your brother.
Moms love 5-Star Matchup. It's a true fact. We all know it. It's
all of our moms.
They all
told us personally that they love it.
That's not true of me, but
obviously
that's
not
okay.
Me, so.
That's okay. Anyway, I was going to discuss the Oakland Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, man.
On the defensive side of the football. Max Crosby was impressive. I know he was going against Big Al, and
yeah,
I'm not even trying to hate on Big Al, but
no, I did not go into this game with the intention to hate on Big Al,
and
he made it too easy. He made it way too easy.
It was rough. It was one of the worst individual, even a bad offensive line. The only one I can remember like that in
even
recent.
It's full of rookies and people who are just getting their feet under them. Still put up a respectable performance.
Dude, the only thing I can remember, do you remember maybe...
Can't send it to my mom. She's a Raiders fan.
Boo, boo, boo. That's okay.
Send it to her.
He's a Patreon subscriber, so he's allowed to have a mother who's a Raiders fan. It's just unfortunate that you both can't have a good day on Sunday because your day is going to be so much better than hers, obviously. Yeah, what was I saying about the Raiders? I lost my train of thought because I was shit-talking Kevin the Elder God's mother. I meant nothing, no disservice to your mother. I'm sure she's a wonderful, wonderful person. I just wish she liked the Steelers. The Raiders, yeah, they are coming into town. I am also going to be coming into town.
Wow.
My first game since 2019. Yeah, I went to a couple.
Yeah, you went to the Bills one, didn't you? The same one I was at.
Yeah, I went to that Sunday night.
That one.
I went to two that year. I did go to a good one. I went to that one, the first Bengals one against with Mason, where he actually threw for 270 yards.
I have a question. So, when you've come all that way for a game and then we lose, like the Bills one, how does that feel? You gotta go back to your hotel room.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it blows. So here's a funny thing. I was on an absolutely unbelievable run from 2004 till 2018. So almost the entire time that I was attending games with my uncle, the one who had passed away about 2 years ago, almost the entire time, the Steelers did not lose when I was in attendance at Heinz Field.
You know what's crazy? I had a similar thing,
really?
For a lot of years.
Yeah.
And probably because I picked, good games to go to.
Yeah, we did a lot of, Bengals or,
Yeah. Teams you're going to stomp, but even, sometimes those go awry. But,
that's even worse. At least if you lose, if you lose to a good team, it's one thing. But I went to a game once in the Meadowlands in 2003. The Tommy Maddox year was the first game I ever went to. I was 13, and it was a fucking blizzard. in the
Oh man.
Meadowlands. It took us like 4 hours to get there from where we were, which was only like a 90-minute drive.
Oh
And
man.
it was the Steelers didn't even score. It was 6-0.
He didn't score.
They had one series. They had one series where they had like a first and goal from the 1, and the bus was on the sideline because he had something wrong with his
Oh
hip,
man.
and he needed like a painkiller injection, and it made his leg go numb or some shit. Whatever happened
Yeah.
back in the day, I don't know. Back in those days. And he couldn't come in, and we're watching them hand it off to Amos Zaraway in a blizzard from the 1, and you're just like, why
Oh
did we
man.
commit so much time to this? But yeah, the 2004, I went to Ben's rookie year. I went to the first home game he started against Cincinnati,
Wow.
and I still have a screen printed 7 jersey from that
Wow.
game, and
Nice.
yeah, and so that was 2004, and then I didn't go to a loss in Pittsburgh until the fucking Chargers game in 2018 with
man.
Keenan Allen on LJ Fort constantly and having just no answer to it, and that was in a beautiful method of poetry. That was the last game I went to with my uncle, and it was the worst fucking experience I ever had at Heinz Field.
Ended on the worst note.
Oh, I know. But, I can't be bummed because, like I've said before, I was at the AFC Championship game in 2008, and that's, like, one of the best memories of my life. So
I wish I was at something like that.
That is unequivocally, I mean, I've told even my girlfriend, now fiance, this, like, that I'm sorry, but, like, I don't think anything's ever going to top that moment.
You know what, man? We're gonna go back. You never know what's ahead,
I know.
There might be something soon.
Oh,
and
there
then
might
you go
be.
do it, and then in 30 years, you'll be like, I went to that game.
There might be, and I am at a point in my life where if like crazy stuff happens Steelers wise, i.e. AFC title game, Super Bowl, I really would have to like give it serious thought if it's something that I was going to spend a shitload of money on. And
you just got to get to a point where we can just buy.
Well, we're going to
Bowl
get people to give us like influencer tickets,
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Man, that would be so cool. The Steelers are like, hey, you guys, you have to sit next to Joey Molinaro, but here's 3 tickets for 5-star matchup. That'd be the shit. It's never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. You gotta dream big. I do dream big. That's why I invented this show, which rules. 5-Star Radio, which you're listening to right now on YouTube. If you dig what we do, make sure you search us up on Spotify, where you can listen to the audio version of these podcasts. How come we don't get any videos playing in the background? This is boring just looking at fonts. Well, it's a live radio stream. You can leave it open in a tab while you do other stuff on the computer. Listen to it while you play games. Listen to it while you do any manner of things. You could do housework, push-ups, feed
a dog, ride a bike,
you could
go to the gym, anything.
Exactly. You don't have to look at it. And if you want it just in an audio version, it is available on Spotify after the fact. I assure you, you don't want to just look at our stupid faces for this period of time because humans, we're ugly. Who needs it? And also the copyright. That's the other thing. We can't show current football clips in live videos on YouTube because it'll get copyright tagged and then it gets taken down and then blah 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 blah. So
it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. We're talking Steelers. There's people hanging out in the chat.
Roman wants to talk Steelers. Let's talk Steelers.
If Roman wants it, then I'm gonna give Roman what he deserves, which is more Steelers talk. Enough about us, more about the game.
Okay, here's something for you. Okay. What do you think about TJ going up against Alex Leatherwood, the rookie?
I think he's gonna. I think you're gonna see the pass rush be dominant again. I think there was a statistic going out around today that somebody put out that the Steelers I think we knew parts of this, but that they led the league in pressures in week 1, and they only blitzed once. So by far they were. Ben Roethlisberger got bailed out by a penalty on that awful interception. He did. I agree with that. He did not. The announced team tried to act like he saw it. He did. He did not.
Which is surprising. I don't know why they were trying to defend Ben.
They were giving him credit because it was Ian Eagle.
Like,
Ian Eagle's actually okay.
Yeah,
I like Ian
You're
Eagle.
right. You're right.
He used to be the Nets guy here in New York, or I don't know if he still is, but the Raiders. Where was I with that?
Alex Leatherwood.
Oh yeah.
Talking about
TJ. Yeah, I think the pass rush is gonna. So they had, I think, the most pressures in the league week 1, and they only blitzed once, which is wild. I mean, that
remarkable.
Just shows you that they're getting home with 4 guys, whether it's Cam, Ingram, Highsmith, TJ, whoever. They have guys that can make things happen on their own. So I think you're going to see the pass rush really just sort of feast again. I mean, Carr was on the run. I think Justin Houston had a sack, if I remember. Isn't it funny how the Ravens, the Steelers, can just take a outside linebacker off a scrap heap and just he could be 35 years old. It doesn't matter. He'll come to a team like us or them and get like 10 sacks.
Well, that's why you need those attitude setters on your team like TJ or Minka, who are going to be like, you're coming in here, well, we're a great defense, so you're going to have to play up to this standard, you know what I mean? And it's like they feel that, I feel like.
No, exactly. And it also just helps, like, when you have people, I mean, how we've been hearing the Steelers talk about it on the defensive side of the ball for the last, 5 years, but the communication and the way that works and how important that is to that side of the ball. And I think, I think there's something to be said about when you have really high quality players, both mentally and physically, in important spots like that.
Especially mentally, man, because the amount of deception that they do is crazy. It's nice. It's great to see.
It really is. You're talking about who? Just offenses in general, or
our defense in general?
Oh yeah.
Our ability to disguise our coverage.
It is just, well, because they have guys that can do any job.
It's above the shoulder stuff, and they're
varsity.
They're able to do that because they're able to take in all that information.
They are. I've said it before, but I never hear anybody talking about it. I really genuinely think one of the best hires of the last decade was Terrell Austin to work with the secondary and some strategy stuff with Tomlin. People don't know how good that guy is. When he was a DB coach in Detroit, they grew up. What was their really good corner? He's over in Philly now. Darius Slay. And he was getting 10 interceptions, and that guy is a smart football guy, and I think he's really changed what they do on the back end. It was I can't get over it. The sight of just thinking about Norwood and that play he made in the end zone. It's bright things in the back end of that defense. I even think Terrell Edmonds is becoming almost a borderline Pro Bowl player, and I think a lot of Yinzers would laugh about that, but I think it's true.
Yeah, I think Edmonds is a perfect example too of that mentality of you got to play up to the people around you.
Yes,
I think if he was on a shittier team, he wouldn't be as good of a player, but because he's on a good team, it allows him.
Oh, totally.
There's less margin for error.
I've said that about.
There's more margin for error. I mean,
I've said that about Edmonds before. Is that everybody's like, "Oh, he sucks," and I'm like, do you realize how good the Steelers' starting 11 on defense is? You can have a defense where Terrell Edmonds is your 10th or 11th best player. That is very okay. You're not gonna have an all-pro at every position, and I mean, the Steelers have first rounders at almost every position.
Yeah, exactly. I liked, or how about this for something to transition to?
Mm-hmm.
SR9 in the chat says, are we going to be able to hold Crosby? That's really what's worrying him or her.
I think that he's going to be a problem, but I think Ben's really smart about getting rid of the ball. I think he knows how to play that game above the shoulders. We saw it all last year, especially early. So I think you're going to see Ben have a better game than you expect. But I think the way you can really counter that is give them stuff to think about all day. I mean, Max
Yep.
Crosby was just teeing off because, uh,
Yeah,
look at the box score. The Ravens had no threat besides Jackson. He had 30 pass attempts, 235, and 12 carries for 86. The guy is their whole offense, especially with their backs, out. That kid had a nice game for them, but he's not fucking J.K. Dobbins. It's not the
that,
same threat.
that's kind of what I was gonna say. Like the fact is, Big Al did have a say in making Crosby look like a much better player than he normally does. And I
Yeah.
think even with Chooks in there, which people are so concerned about, but really Chooks didn't have Chooks didn't have a great game, but he didn't have like a
You know what?
Big Al kind of game.
You know what Chooks did do? He had that sweet block on that receiver screen where he's about 8 yards down the field,
There you go.
and no one gave him credit for this. He recovered Roethlisberger's fumble.
Oh yeah, he did. You're right.
So I'm just saying,
I
like,
noticed that too, and I thought that in my head.
Chooks, again, it's
Never thought
always,
said
that's
it.
a thing with Steelers fans that I've noticed, is that there's always, like, whoever the 10th or 11th best starter is on a side of the ball, they get so much heat. And I'm like, dude, they're still out here playing for our Steelers. Like, I'm not trying to make some guy feel shitty and talk shit about him on Twitter just because he's not as good as his teammates. Like,
Yeah, well, it was a narrative going up all the way to this game, so like it's kind of expected that you're going to
People
hear
wanna
some
see it
people
pay off.
saying that. Yeah,
Yeah.
people want to hear that narrative pay off. Where he didn't have some spectacular game, so you can say something like that and it'll come through. But he wasn't like getting destroyed every play. Like, it wasn't a
No.
Big Al situation, all right. It wasn't
No.
jumping off the page like that.
No, that was rough. I mean,
That was rough.
that was not that was not encouraging for the future. I was genuinely surprised. Were you, that he even continued to play? I mean, I just thought
Yeah,
physically,
and they moved him to right.
and now they're
Like
moving
they've
him
been,
back to
they're
left.
moving him back now. How do you just move him back?
No
That's
way
how
that's
you
gonna work
know
out.
you did bad. If
Well,
they're
no, they
like,
moved him back because they're moving him back because Orlando Brown got hurt.
oh yeah, you're right. Also, didn't Marquise Brown get hurt too? Isn't he hurt
No,
as
I
well?
think it was one of their corners. I don't think it was Hollywood Brown. Although I could
Or
be
Hollywood Brown, my bad.
it's the same thing.
Oh, it's the same guy. I'm
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know if he got hurt, but they are setting up big
Yeah,
time for like a 6-11 year. I feel it.
Yeah, he did get some sort of ankle injury. I don't know the seriousness of it during practice today. Today,
Oh,
yeah.
they're gonna have trouble this year. I'm not even trying to talk down on them or talk any
No,
shit
I
about
mean-
Baltimore. I just you get to a point where it's too much to overcome.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's gotten to that point for them. The whole 2019 Steelers, except it's not their quarterback, but like a quarterback goes down and it's like the
Oh,
equivalent
yeah.
of half of a team going down.
2019, we've talked about this before, but for me, it was such a weird thing because I've never had a season where I felt as light before games because just the fact that we were in December and we had anything relevant to talk about, I was like,
Yeah.
you got to be thankful. You got to be thankful.
We always have something relevant to talk about in December. That's why it's great to be a Steeler fan.
I heard somebody talking in my fantasy football chat. Shout out Sleeper, still waiting for you to hop on the 5-star bandwagon.
Oh man.
Hey, they're not listening. And if they are, then they should send an email, business inquiry, to 5starmatchup@gmail.com. Somebody was saying, because my other friend Rich, who was in the chat here earlier, he's the only other like Steeler fan in this league, and somebody was like, oh yeah, like I never worry about like Rich or whatever because I just remember that the Steelers just always collapse at the end of the year. And this guy was like a Bills fan, I think, and I'm like, dude, you really there's nothing worse than when like fans of loser franchises try to talk any shit on me as a Steelers fan because I'm like, dude, I've seen 2 Super Bowls. Like,
Yeah,
most people don't
exactly.
see that their whole life. Like, you can't get me. Like, I could say, yeah, the Killer Bee era was kind of disappointing, but still, I've seen 2 Super Bowls. Like,
That's because they were good, and we got to watch them be good for so long, and it was disappointing because they didn't take it all the way.
yeah.
But, but yeah, exactly. I mean, I saw a Browns fan today on Twitter say something along the lines of like that we were treating being 1-0 as our Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
Where like, I'm not even gonna explain the whole premise of this because like it's so. It's
Dude,
like an
that
alternate universe saying something like
it's
that.
so that thing, the Browns and Roethlisberger, like crossover commentary, whatever you want to call it, is just so bizarre to me because I get it. I know, I know. You finally got one, and I'm so happy for the true fans who really have been stuck in hell, because I am a sports fan and I can appreciate that that sucks. However, that would be like after the 2018 Patriots game. If I was talking shit on Tom Brady and you were like, dude, I'm a Patriots fan. I saw my team beat yours like 60-10 for like a decade straight.
Yeah,
You know, like I would
yeah,
never do that. I don't talk shit on Tom Brady as a
yeah.
fan because
I can admit that he owned us for
he
that
has
time period.
owned the Steelers.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, as much honestly, like historically, like if you look at passer ratings and stuff, I think he owns the Steelers about as bad as anybody owns anybody. So,
yeah.
and same with Roethlisberger and the Browns. And I just think it's so funny that it's like one win, and suddenly we're talking about it like we're on the same level. We're playing a different game, dude.
Like the SR9's comment in the chat again too. The Browns were acting like they won a Super Bowl the first quarter against the Chiefs last week. He's right, they were.
I wasn't even on Twitter because I got right in
Oh
on the
man.
game and we were doing the post game and stuff. Which, by the way, make sure you listen to our post game show. Make sure you have notifications
Post game
on
show.
for that is Austin's deal really more than mine. He is leading that charge. And I need y'all guys to make sure you check it out after the game. It is a lot of fun. We're going to work in some way at some point to get people to be able to call in. That would be dope, I think. My good friend Rich in the chat says his whole baseball fandom has been pain. He is a Mets fan. And that is,
Oh man.
I get it. It's not fun. I think a lot of Pittsburgh fans probably could relate to that because I don't think it's been too fun
Yeah.
to be a Pirates fan.
I'm not a Pirates fan, and it still hasn't been fun to even be near them.
It is depressing because I'm a Steelers fan. I'm a Penguins fan. I'm not from Pittsburgh, as somebody in the chat
Yeah.
earlier said. I've never like claimed to be. That's just like how I was raised in my family as a Steelers fan. But the Pirates, it's just, I mean, like I would be more than happy to round out my fandoms with all Pittsburgh teams, black and yellow. It's all one team, whatever. But man, I see the relationship that Pirates fans have with the team, and it is an abusive relationship. I mean, I see it every year from all you Pittsburgh friends of mine. I just see every year. It's like there's one stretch where the Pirates are not
Yep.
terrible, and everybody's like, "Oh, the Pirates are actually
The
pretty
hopes
good."
go up. Yeah.
and then I'm like, "No, dude." And then they lose like 68 games in a row.
They get the tiniest sprinkle of joy. It's like
Uh,
a abusive relationship. They just give them a little bit of love.
No, that's
and then they
exactly
destroy them.
exactly what I was saying. It's just toxic, and
Man.
I feel bad. I was not raised like because of my Steelers fandom. Like I'm not a lovable loser fan. Like that's a thing for me that we've talked about with my friend who is a Mets fan, where it's like there's a difference between fans of a franchise like the Mets and fans of a franchise like the Steelers, which it's funny because there is some crossover there. He is a Mets and a Steelers fan, but
There you go.
it's just opposite mindsets, you know? The Steelers mindset is like, if we don't win the Super Bowl every year, it's a disappointment.
Yeah. Very true. I agree.
So we are out here on 5-Star Radio on this lovely Thursday. It is approaching dusk in my area of the world, or maybe it's just cloudy. I can't really tell. It is six
I think
thirty.
I think dusk is a little later.
Yeah, I mean, but
I think.
it's sneaking up, man. It's like come September, October, it starts sneaking up.
Yeah. You're right.
It sneaks up on you, and suddenly
And
one
then
day you're
it's
like,
eventually at like 2 o'clock, and it's getting dark.
oh, it's so rough, especially last
Oh
year
man.
in pandemic times when you're just like, oh my god,
Yeah.
it's dark at 5 p.m. Like, what is going on here? I think I feel good about the Steelers though. I want to go back to just last week when me, you, and Big Steeler Mood were on, and we did our confidence levels. Do you remember this?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Roughly.
So for week one, you did a confidence level of 6. I did a confidence level of 7, and we won.
Wow.
So boo to you for being less
You only
positive.
got one higher than me. You know who did where? Wait, was it Big Steelers Mood who was on with us?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He had a lower confidence than me,
For
if I
week
remember
one,
correctly.
you had a 6, and we both had 7s.
What? I swear he had a 5.
For
Okay.
week two, you have a 9, he had an 8, and I have a 10.
I don't even remember doing one for week 2.
Yeah, we did it for like the first 4 weeks because I wanted to see what our averages were.
Oh yeah, we did them all at once. All right. See, I didn't remember, but now I do.
We
Okay.
did indeed. How do you? Yeah, what do you think we're talking about on Sunday night? Do you think that we're talking about like how do you see this going? Do you see this going like upper echelon where you're walking away saying, "Wow, that was an impressive Steelers win"? Are you walking away saying that was a fine win? Are you walking away saying poor win? Are you saying bad loss, horrible loss? Where do you think it's most likely we end up on Sunday?
I think I'm gonna still stick with my 9 on the confidence going into this, and I think I think we're gonna win. I mean, after winning the first game, it kind of just feels like uh, there's no reason for me to be like thinking we should lose. Like we should win this game. So I'm gonna stick with my 9, and I'm gonna say we're gonna have a win, and it's gonna be a pretty convincing win, but there will be some. I think there'll be maybe a few more mistakes in this game, and
Interesting.
only because uh,
I mean,
I
I
don't know. Only
generally
because during like in the past, Raiders matchups have been strange sometimes. So
they have been very odd.
yeah, so I can see some weird things happening, but I think we
Definitely.
still convincingly win.
I like that prediction. I think that's pretty fair. I did see in the chat that Kevin the Elder God said, "Yo, gents, any surprise
Oh,
that the
McCoy
Steelers?"
Brown jersey.
What's that?
Nothing. Read that one first.
Oh, somebody. Oh, I'm about to leak pics of 5-star in a Colt McCoy Browns jersey. Thanks, Rich. That does not exist. There are photos of me in a Mets hat. I do own a Mets hat, but it's a dope Mets hat with Mr. Met wearing some awesome sunglasses. So no shame in that. I don't really care about baseball, to be honest. I go to baseball games to have a good time. Um, I lost my complete train of thought now, thanks to that Colt McCoy Browns jab.
I like that.
We were talking about the Raiders and the confidence and everything. I am with you. I like that. Oh, I was reading Kevin's comment where he said, "Are you surprised that they haven't activated Carl Joseph or Akilo Witherspoon yet?" And I would say that I'm not surprised about that, only because why would they? The secondary was so darn impressive. Who are you
Yeah.
trying to off the 53? You can't, you can't lower. You can't let UG3 get a game-winning touchdown that was arguably the best moment of his career, and then be like, "Oh, you got to go back
Nope.
down to
Well,
the
you're not
practice
coming
squad."
in. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not coming in this week.
Yeah, no, I just think everything went so well that what's the rush? I like the extended practice squad though in the NFL, and I think it's
Yeah.
a really cool thing. I hope that stays post COVID because I like that extra element of like, oh, we have a guy like Carl Joseph on the practice squad. He could start if we need it.
Yeah, I feel like they made that clear that that's something that they wanted to keep, even like post COVID kind of thing. And I mean, it's great. It's great for everyone involved, literally everybody.
You
I
know
don't
what
know
I've
who would
never
ever go against it.
You know what I've never understood? I'm okay with I like the practice squad as a concept, and I think that's a cool thing. What I've never understood is the active thing, how you only have 47 active. You have to have 6 inactives. Like,
Yeah, I
What?
don't.
Why? What's the difference? I just don't. I don't get that. Why doesn't every team just have 53 active? I mean, shit. In college, they have like 98 guys active. What's the
Yeah,
difference? Like if
I
you're
don't know,
only
man.
allowed to
There's
have
probably some
this,
weird explanation
it's just
somewhere.
so. I just never have. It seems so arbitrary, and I've never been able to wrap my head around that.
Yeah. That being said, though, I think it's great that we have people like those guys aren't nobodies,
No, of
and to have
course.
them as like that deep of depth,
Yep.
it's great. I mean, it's great.
It really is. I think I was just getting to my thoughts on Oakland or on the Raiders, sorry, the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think that you're going to see the Steelers have I think they're going to be a little bit more in sync on offense because I think Oakland's defense will afford that. I don't love what they have on the back end. So I think you're going to be able to see them move the ball. I think you're going to see Najee have a big game. I'm going to just keep saying it till it happens because I know one of these
Every
weeks
week.
it's going to happen. But I really do. I think they're intent on feeding him much like they did Le'Veon in those days. And Le'Veon was, it's one of those things where you're waiting for it. And I think Najee, because of the layout of the game, only got 15 carries, even though he played every snap.
Yeah.
But you saw him getting more effective as the game wore on. He had towards the end that nice little 9-yard rush, and then he had like I think he had a 13-yard run, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he had a couple like
Mm-hmm.
nice runs, and think if he would have connected, like Ben really floated him a couple that game, and if he could have been able to catch those and get those, I think we would be looking at it completely different,
He could
honestly.
have very easily had 2 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah,
I mean, because
and that other one that he was running the like slant and Ben threw it a little like early, in my opinion.
yeah, you're talking about the one where he was crossing right to left, and he
Yeah,
did the one where he did catch it, but he got tackled.
yeah.
Yeah, that
I think if
was
you if he had, I think if Ben had another second there, that's a touchdown. But I
exactly.
mean, I haven't rewatched that play, so I don't know like if the
No,
line was
you're
dying or something.
you're right. It was a nice coverage play by the backer, though. The other
Oh,
one,
absolutely.
the one where Ben threw it to his right, and Najee had to go up and could barely get his hand on it.
Yeah,
That was just
just
Ben
too
just
high.
missing. That was just a bad
Yeah.
one.
And then he had another one that he missed, what was like a little dump off, but he didn't really get turned around in time.
I think that one was on Naj. I don't think he.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you'll see him have a nice game. I think you'll see them have some success on offense. I think that the defense will continue to perform to something of their capabilities. Because I just think the defense is really good. I think and with the crowd noise and everything,
Yeah, they're gonna be hyped, man.
yeah, I'm
Man, I
pretty.
really want to go
You
to
should
that
go,
game.
dude. Get a ticket.
I don't want to solo. Has anyone here ever went to a game by themselves? I mean, I don't
Dude,
know.
what
I
are you
just
gonna
feel
not
weird
have
about it. I've
anybody
never
to?
done that.
You're not gonna have anybody to high
No, I
five in
mean,
Heinz Field. It's the
there's
best,
plenty of high five people.
dude. I mean,
You're right.
I'm
You're
just
right.
saying, like, I'm going, like, if the thing is that literally like you just don't have a person to go with, I'm like, bro, you live there. Like, I'm flying.
Yeah.
Like, if I were you, I'd be going, dude. We beat
We'll
COVID,
see.
bro. We beat COVID. We came out the other end. You gotta.
I really just want to go to be in that environment. I mean, I
I
love that kind of stuff.
know.
And when it's extra like hyped of a game, which I feel like this one's going to be after all the COVID and stuff, it's like I
I
just want to be there.
know. I know. Steelers can't let it. They can't let us down. Not at home. Not with Ben playing his first game.
I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to come out.
I do too. I really feel good about it. I feel like it's
You're right,
dicey.
Roman. Make friends.
Yeah, dude, it's Heinz Field. Like, I've gone to movies.
You're right. I mean,
who cares? I mean, it's not like you're really
you're
carrying
right.
on. I mean, it's
Yeah, no, I get you.
um, treat yourself.
If I'm there on Sunday, we should hang out either before or even in there.
Definitely. That is on the agenda.
I gotta see. I'm gonna make my decision.
Little IRL 5-star matchup. We're making the plans on the air in real time. This is the content that you get when you subscribe to 5-star matchup and when you search for 5-star radio on Spotify. Austin, any further thoughts on where we're at today on a Pittsburgh Steelers Thursday? Anything you want to add?
I don't know. I'm happy that there's another game on the horizon. It's so nice that it feels like time flies during these times. It really helps you get through the week.
It really
Still
does,
feel
man.
fresh. Yeah.
It
I
really
mean, I feel the
does.
difference, and it's nice to be back.
Football is just the best. I just like watching the Monday Nighter. I was watching it because I just didn't. I only slept like 4 hours on Sunday night after I made the show,
Yeah.
and which bear with me by the way if the show is rough this week because I'm going to do it on a laptop in my hotel room. So don't be like, oh, your voice sounds like you recorded it in a bathroom, because guess what? I'm going to
You
be
did.
recording it in a bathroom. um, the what was I gonna say? Um, I don't know. I just
It's like the fifth time you forgot your
I
train of
I
thought.
am totally all over the place. It's because I'm just so excited, dude. I am like
Yeah.
literally so just I'm buzzing because I didn't anticipate the Steelers getting off to this start. I really thought they were going to lose week 1. Like I thought they could win, but I just thought they were going to take an L, and I thought everybody was going to be so negative. And we're polar opposite from where we were in terms of social media and stuff last week. The
Yeah.
way you and I were talking about just how salty and everything everybody was, just waiting for the game to get here. And I almost feel like everybody had this collective, like, where it feels okay and happy again. And I'm very, very pleased with it.
Yeah, I agree.
I am
I'm
all over the
excited.
place. I am all over the place this week. Oh, I remember my train of thought. I was saying, because I stayed up, I was watching the Ravens game like in bed, and I was like so exhausted, and I really wanted to go to sleep. But I was also like, oh man, I love football, and just watching an overtime game
Yeah.
between two good teams, where that game had a lot of drama. And it just, I don't know, it's just immediately, it's week 1, and instantly, even the first game was good, and
Yep.
you're just like, oh, we're
That game was
here,
real good.
it's
Yeah.
back. I think the lighter preseason is really helping the quality of the game early on.
Yeah, and I think also like just being back in those kind of environments that they're in now, it's like the quality of game is just like because they get so hyped being in like those loud stadiums and like man,
Yeah.
just nice. It's nice to be back to that.
No, I totally agree. I think there is something to be said for actual human beings with a combined purpose. You know what I mean? Like actual
Yeah.
people yelling happily about something that is, I'm not going to say it doesn't actually matter, but in the grand scheme of things, that's what's great about sports, is that you're rooting for something that doesn't actually affect life. It's just
Yeah.
a
But you
thing.
can still love it and
Yeah.
be excited for it.
Oh, it's the best, dude. I'm gonna be so gassed after that game, because I'm going to be giving it everything I have, screaming and yelling. I think we're upper deck for this game. I didn't get the tickets personally. My sister did, so
Hey,
I'm
you
not.
gotta hey, those tickets weren't that cheap.
No,
I
dude,
mean,
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. I'm just saying I gotta be louder because I'm further away from Ben.
yeah.
I gotta make sure he knows that I'm like
She
Ben.
knows you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't leave him hanging. He's got to know like what the play call is. I'm no further away from him than Canada is.
There you go. Oh yeah, true. There you go.
I might be closer. I don't know where the hell Canada is. He could be in Timbuktu for all I know. He's up there with his
It's
his
like
opera.
looking.
I like imagining him up there with like the opera goggles. The little like stick with the binocular on it.
Yeah,
love it.
it's like I like looking at them when they're up there. This is such a random conversation. I like looking at them when they're up there because they're just like all sitting like on two levels and like they look like
They look like the guys on that work in the front of the Death Star when like Darth
Yeah,
Vader
they're just
goes to
like- yeah.
bitch about everything, and
Yeah,
there's all
yeah,
those
yeah.
people just like on computers.
yeah, that's what it looks like. They're like those. It's like those guys are the real guys who are running this
Yeah.
right now. Like,
Oh man, I like the
man.
press. I like the press thing about how they all sit and like they sit just like that too, and like they
Yeah.
all sit next to each other and they all just like talk to each other during the game. It's such a funny like old school kind of thing.
Yep.
because last year none of them were in the stadium, and it showed you like what difference does it really make. And I think a lot of them, you did hear some reporters complain about not getting to physically ask questions because I guess they found doing the Zoom things kind of weird, but they were
Yeah,
fun. They gave us some quirky moments.
they did. They did.
Oh
It's
man,
always nice to be back though in person and hear him talking like that.
it is. It is. It's great to hear more Mike T idioms. It's great to hear just the ebb and flow of the football week. You know, it is what it is. All 25 of us watching approve. I'm not sure what they approve.
But I'm
Maybe
happy you do.
maybe they approve of you getting yourself a ticket for Sunday. I think that's maybe what they approve of.
That's
Somebody's from
probably not, but I do want to do that.
SR9 is saying that he's from Texas, so that is cool.
Nice.
I have never been to Texas.
I'd
Uh,
like to go to Texas.
it seems like a
I'd
different
like to go to
place.
like Austin, and not just because that's my name.
Yeah, that is indeed your name. Um, yeah, I hear good things about it. It's a you know fancy sort of place. I think I don't know much about the
Certain areas.
what's that,
It's a diverse mixing pot, like everywhere.
like America as a whole. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is. We've been going live for about an hour. We have a rewind episode that just posted that I would love for you to check out. So, Austin, I think we're going to kind of wrap things up here on this edition of Five Star Radio.
Hmm.
What is it that you would like the people in the chat to do for you?
All right, guys. You can follow me on Twitter if you want at Steelers Take,
Do
but
it.
really what you need to do is watch the show on Spotify, especially the post-game show. You can come back here and find us live
Mm-hmm.
after every Steeler game. And then later on Monday, you can find a beautiful episode of the main show.
You'll love to hear it. The main five-star matchup show, the piece de la resistance, as they say, the bread and butter of the show, the loss leader, making lots of ad revenue for Mr. Roger Goodell. Make sure you tune in to everything we do on Five Star Matchup. Make sure you search us up on Spotify just to subscribe to the podcast. Consider donating to the Patreon, and just share all that stupid stuff that you're supposed to do. Do it for us because it helps out big time, and we appreciate it greatly. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful evening watching Thursday Night Football. I will see you again on Five Star Matchup very, very soon. Bye.